We are in the Bay Area. I think temperature is 72 degrees. It's going to be today. And I know you're ready for Vinney and Beau show, just like we come every week.
Another Friday in the books. I wasn't much of a runner, but now I started running at the gym because I'm like a little short guy with a lot of muscle, so it's hard to run.
We are Vinney and Beau show coming live to you from San Francisco, the great Bay Area, right here from Danville, Blackhawk. We always come to you on Friday at 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. Pacific and 12:30 p.m. Over there in the East Coast. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Beau. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well. I can't believe it's another Friday. It seems like
it
seems every week.
It seems like that, doesn't it? It looks like, boy, my dark color, as if I just came from a beach or someplace. I think the lighting is like this over here in the backyard. But again, welcome everybody. We come live, Vinney and Beau show every Friday, 9:30 Pacific. And we have a guest actually joining us from Japan. And we are just waiting for him to come. He's the Hutch, the marine investor. And the good part is, Beau, tell a little bit more about the guest, if you would. I'm sure we'll introduce him as he comes. Yeah.
Sure. So he has an excellent story. He was born in Jamaica. And when I asked him about it, I had interviewed him on my show. And I asked him about it. And I said, well, what was it like growing up? He grew up very poor. And he would actually walk to school with no shoes on in Jamaica. And then I think he saw an airplane and he said, one day I'm gonna work on airplanes. And so fast forward, his dad and his family, they moved to the States, and he grew up and joined the Marine Corps. He's been in for like 23 years. And then, later in his life, he realized that, what am I going to do when I get out of the Marine Corps? So he started investing in real estate, got some mentor, and now I think he's got a couple hundred units that he's partnered in. So yeah, it's a pretty
Awesome.
good story.
Wonderful, wonderful. How are other things going? I know in real estate, with the interest rate, I know the word is out there that within about, let's see, end of the month of July, we're going to have increase, another one. Have you heard about it? Is it 0.5, 0.75?
Yeah,
What's
so
the deal?
residential rates are around 5.7-ish right now, give or take. Investor loans, the DSCR loans are, they're coming up. So I do think rates will move up. The residential rates came down. I think Hutch is here. He's probably trying to turn on his camera.
Yeah, I just saw. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
let's see if he gets in.
Sure. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Yay. All right. Welcome, Hutch. How are you, brother? Yes.
Amazing, gentlemen. How you doing?
Oh, doing great. Doing awesome. No, thank you for being able to join from Japan. I know Beau was mentioning. Yes.
Yeah.
And we had
Can you
the
hear me well?
pleasure to meet, I think. When was that? Yeah. It's coming all right. Yes. Oh, I think it's
there you go. Can you hear us now, Hutch?
Can you hear you well?
Oh,
okay. Good. So yeah, you have a little bit of a delay on probably because you're in Japan.
Yeah.
Anyways, Hutch, how you doing today?
I am doing quite well.
Very good. You're a little slow on your internet connection.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Let's see. All right. Well, anyways, Hutch, we already did your intro while we were waiting for you, and thanks for joining the show. So Hutch is currently in Japan, and he's stationed there, and then he's actually going to, I think his next station is going to be in Hawaii. He loves living in the island life. And Hutch, why don't you kind of dive in and just from growing up in Jamaica to when you moved to the States, and tell the story on how you you got into the Marine Corps and wanted to work on aviation?
Oh, so look, whenever she
Oh, we can't hear you, Hutch. I don't know if it's your
Uh,
oh, when
internet connection.
microphone. Yeah, now it's fine. Now it's fine.
so maybe I need to use this mic.
Yeah,
Oh boy, sorry
I
about
Okay,
that.
I
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Uh-huh.
yeah. So let me
Yeah.
know if it's not working. But um, thank you. It's a beautiful
uh
place.
yeah,
So
your connection not good. Try to log back in, Hutch. Yep. Hold on. We'll take him out. Try to exit.
yeah,
Yeah, if he
sure,
exits
sure.
out and
Yeah,
then
it
comes
might
back in.
work. Yeah, sorry about
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
When I
it is.
interviewed him, he
Yeah,
had a good internet connection. So you never know where he's at,
you
where he
never
stayed.
know.
So, anyways,
Sure, sure.
that's the trouble about live shows is that when internet does not work. But
Yes,
that's
yes.
what we learned about real estate investing. Are you reading any good books right now, Vinny?
The books, no, but podcast, yes. Actually, all in, I think there is a new podcast with these four billionaires, I think. And I learned a lot about, economy and other things, and how, the people in the top market makers are thinking about, how this recession, it's going to be short-lived from what I understand. Is that what you are also kind of hearing about that?
I
Yeah,
think there's so many different opinions. It's really hard to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
I think that um, there'll be less transactions, which means there's a trickle down effect when if there's 30 or 40% less real estate transactions
Mm-hmm.
nationally, that's going to cause a slowdown because real estate's such a big driver of the economy. So I do
Sure.
think that there will be a slowdown. I don't know. Some people say it's going to be shallow, and some people say it's going to be deep. And
Mm-hmm.
just like some people say, like Warren Buffett says no on Bitcoin, and then Elon Musk is pro Bitcoin, right? Like
Yeah,
everybody's got a
yeah.
different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, fundamentals will play out and we'll see what happens. But I think as an investor, as an investor, you just got to be ready. I mean, you got to be ready.
Yes,
You got to
yes.
be ready to adapt. Hutch, are you back?
Can you
Can you
hear
hear us,
us,
Hutch?
Hutch?
He must have a slow delay
I
there.
Yeah, yeah, seems
I am
like.
back. My apologies. Seem to be working still slow.
No, that's good. That's good. Please tell your story. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So born and raised in Jamaica. Live in a place where, it's old school, where it takes the village to raise a child. So I grew up around a lot of aunties and uncles and lots of cousins just running around the countryside. Most of my life, from between, from almost my younger school age, I went to school bare feet. Not only
Mm.
that, right? My grandma, who was supposed to be my guardian, taking care of me, she was deaf and blind. So needless to say, myself, my brother, my cousin was actually taking care of the guardian that was supposed to take care of us. So
Ah,
very early in our life, we learned to be resourceful, right? Because we had to fend for ourselves. We had to make sure we wake up early, get to school on time, get lunch sometime, or breakfast, lunch, or a sugar cane, some mangoes, or different fruits and vegetables that would
mm,
grow on what used to be a coffee slave plantation.
I
So,
see.
and through the time my dad was traveling back and forth to America, he finally got his residency, and he was able to file for myself and my brothers, and we came to the states in 1998. So when I came to the states, my dad told me about the military, and for some strange reason he favored the Marine Corps. And
Mm-hmm.
fast forward about 20 years later, I was driving down the street in Pensacola, Florida, and I was wondering, how did I get here? And I was thinking about, my dad took me to the recruiting station. That's why I joined the Marine Corps. But I was on a journey of a spiritual fulfillment, or trying to understand me more and my journey a lot better. And what he brought me to asking myself more questions, digging down to the root of how did I get to where I was. So I brought this memory back of being in third grade, reading what used to be the Children's Own, which is a newspaper mandatory reading literature for school age children. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
in the in the in third grade, I was reading a story about a young man who was in America. It was Jamaican in America, and he was in the armed forces working on airplane on a ship. And I made the decision at that point, and this is the memory I brought back. I made a decision at that point that if I ever come to America, I want to join the military and I want to work on aircraft. So I'm here,
Mhm.
and it
There you
happened.
are. That's awesome. Very
Yes, sir.
You
nice.
guys,
Very nice.
you guys have different. You have similar stories. You both. Vinny came from India with $7 in his pocket to the U.S.
Yeah.
So you both have similar stories. I don't know if Vinny was running around barefoot as a child, but maybe.
Well,
I
unless Vinny come from the affluent folks in New Delhi, India, because I went to New Delhi, India, in
you
uh,
did.
in in 2000, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of folks running around bare feet, just like it was. And I love, I identify with those people running around New Delhi, India. Even when I went to the Taj Mahal, there was folks running
Uh-huh.
around there in bare feet.
Surely, surely. I remember when Beau mentioned it. I know my elementary school was in the tents, so we were not in a mortar building or anything. And when it will rain, the water will come inside the classroom, in the tent, and everything will get wet. But tell us more, like how you got into real estate and being positioning all over the world. How do you manage to do business?
Oh man, so no, I think a lot of us, right? The things we do are usually a little bit of what we're taught by our small community or parents, right? So
Mm-hmm,
when I came to the states, one of the things that I learned from my father was he was a real estate agent who was also dabbling around with investing in single family homes.
mm-hmm,
So he was
mm-hmm,
teaching me this information, you know, and a lot of times, I tell my Marines, I tell my children this too, that we will not take action until something is important to us, right? So, needless to say, my dad was feeding me all this information about how to own some of America, right?
mm-hmm,
But I didn't really take any action on the information that he was giving me for a good over 5 years, right? So,
mm,
and then finally in 2005 is when I bought my first condo, and then my investment journey started because I bought it for 161,000 and sold it in less than 6 months for
mm.
235,000. So it was like, oh
Uh-huh.
man, this is magical. So
Yes.
it is something that a lot of veterans do because we
Mm.
have the VA loan, which
Yes.
give us the opportunity to purchase property with zero money out of pocket. Yes, you pay for inspection, termite inspection, home inspection, so on and so forth, but it's very little money. You don't have to put any money down out of pocket. So we can do that for every single duty station that we go to. And if
Mm-hmm.
you have some inside knowledge about how real estate work as an investment, then most folks they buy the property right to where they buy it, fix it, and is able to rent it whenever we leave, or
Mm.
they can sell it for a
Excellent.
significant profit and move that money over and grow their wealth that way. So we did it a couple times, and it was not until 2017 where my wife and I we actually made investing in real estate a business. Right
Mm.
after attending a seminar by those guys over there, Than Merrill and his group,
Mm-hmm.
we attended a seminar and we decided to start with flipping with the goal of transitioning to multifamily after we generate a certain amount of a nest egg. But we did a major project, attend a lot of seminars
Mm-hmm.
during that renovation seminars with the city contractors, right? Building permits, a whole bunch of different things
Yeah.
um, over 14 months period. And then after the project was complete, we realized, look, we could have flipped a 14 unit apartment complex. So my wife and I we agreed to move transition to multifamily space, and
Very nice.
in
Yes.
2019 we transitioned to multifamily space. Since then, we've done
You.
4 transactions and
Uh-huh.
working on our fifth.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
How wonderful. So, how was it like qualifying for the loan for multifamily? I know when you start from single family to multifamily, sometime, they look for experience and other stuff. Did you face some challenges there? How did
Right.
it
So
work?
yeah, so the cool thing about transition from single family, I'm pretty sure a lot of your audience know this, is that your single family homes, usually you are qualifying for
Yeah.
the property. But as you move to multifamily space, the property is what's going for
Hmm.
the qualification. But look, the bank want to make sure that you are lendable as well, right? And make sure that you are responsible enough with your capital. So with the H Square Capital, what we did, because I'm active duty in the Marine Corps. My business partner, Dr. Heath Jones, he is a GS-14. He does auditory research for the Army. We don't have a large size nest egg or a huge
Hmm.
income.
Hmm.
So the beautiful thing about multifamily is that it's a team sport, and if
Yep.
you're not able to have that financial backing by yourself, provide a financial backing, then you can build a team via key
Hmm.
principles who can
Hmm.
bring their liquidity and net worth to the table. And it's exactly what Eight Square Capital did in our first indications, is to partner with folks who can fill the gap that we're
Yeah.
missing.
Excellent, excellent. Sure. Key principles, total net worth can be combined so that they could be on the loan
Yeah,
and, be able to qualify and then get
correct.
larger number of units, everything. What markets? I know with the new, interest rates are going up. There is a little bit softening coming up now. Great value will be brought in, and people who will be staying around, they'll be able to get some good deals. So what's your perspective now for the next 6 to 12 months, would you say?
Yeah, 6 to 12 months. It's going to be interesting. Now,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we have done in we actually do have a property right now. We have on a contract. We
Mm-hmm.
just utilized our last extension.
Mm-hmm.
Cost us a nice chunk of change, an additional $500,000 down.
Yeah.
To move that closing date 30 days, which will be 15 August that we're closing on
Okay.
that property. So
Uh-huh.
I do believe, I think we all can agree, Vinny, that
Mm-hmm.
you can make money in any market cycle as
Yes.
long as
Yes.
you are sticking to the fundamentals. So, for example, this property that we are purchasing right now with our good friends over there at Elevate, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a 350 units in LaPorte, Texas, right outside of Houston, and
Mm.
it's a Class A properties with a very unique clientele, right? In the immediate area, the average household income is $112,000.
Mm-hmm.
What that do for us is that when we look at our clientele, our resident is able to afford, a significantly more than what our current rent is. So money can be made in any market cycle if we have the right fundamentals and the right
Sure.
demography in the market.
Totally. You're so
Yeah.
right about it. Totally. I just closed on a deal 2, 3 weeks back in Houston itself, by the way, at the Med Center. And that's the property, 319 units, 2013 built. But it was because of the differential in the rents. Our
Right.
property had the lowest rents there. It's a little bit mismanaged, we found. And then when now Greystar is managing it for us, that property. No, I see your point. See your point. Bo, questions, brother?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious, Hutch, on when you have conversations with other Marines. Um, are, are you getting a lot of interest from other Marines to invest, or what does that look like? Where do you find most of your investors since you're stationed in Japan right now? Um, what's your are you I mean, you're probably actively capital raising and building networks. So how are you doing on Zoom? Are you meeting people in the military that are going to be retiring soon and they need a plan? Because I'm sure you have a decent retirement, but probably not where people want to go. So they got to start thinking, okay, where are we going to create more cash flow and net worth?
Yeah, no doubt. So our focus right now is to educate active duty members and veterans. So because I am a senior enlisted in the Marine Corps, I have to be conscious of
Mm-hmm.
the type of conversation that I'm having with folks, to to not cross the fraternization line, right? So, but I do not allow that to hinder me from passing information. So, anyone want to talk about real estate, I give them information without solicitation, right? But if they
Mm-hmm.
exit the military, right, they have now they get access to their thrift savings plan, right? And also, a lot of the folks who end up retiring from the Marine Corps usually make
Mm-hmm.
upwards of 80, 90, or sometimes over $100,000 in their salary after retirement, plus their retirement pay. You know what I mean? So they put themselves in a position to where now they can invest more, which
Mm-hmm.
reduces their commitment in corporate America after
Mm-hmm.
after they retire. So we Age Care Capital, we focus on educating our veterans on a more predictable pathway to retirement. Well, after
Mm-hmm.
retirement.
Nice, nice, nice. That's very nice that you can get to know them and do smaller deals possibly, and as they retire, they will be able to even pitch in more investment dollars and get great returns. Beautiful, beautiful. What kind of, what motivates you, Hutch? Tell us. I mean, what gets you going, and what's the passion,
Oh
about
man.
yeah.
So look, Vinny, I grew up. I run a lot of family. My father was not really there, right? He was
Hmm.
traveling back and forth to America. They finally got us into America. Several years later, I started having my own family, right? So
Hmm.
a lot of people will have this fluffy idea of their why they
Hmm.
do real estate. But for me, my goal is to improve the trajectory, the financial future of my family. That is my
Sure,
goal. But
sure.
as you get into multifamily space, you realize that the capital that you make and the income that you can earn, now you get to create an impact to those causes that you believe deeply in.
Mhm,
Well, HWA
mhm.
Capital, we're donating 10% of all of our acquisition fee to nonprofit
Uh-huh.
organizations that benefits our veterans. Additionally, all our investors that comes in, you know, from their passive income, they also get to create an impact to organization that they feel passionate about.
Mhm.
So for me, first and foremost, it's for my family, right? Because look,
Yep,
walking around the countryside of Jamaica, bare feet, I never want the Hutchinson bloodline to get back to
yep,
that position, right?
sure.
So yeah, I want them to continuously improve. And what I'm doing in the meantime, Vinny, is I'm sharing all this information with my children. I went to the best ever conference in February of this
Yeah,
year, and I brought my
yeah.
oldest son with me because I don't believe that this generational wealth that we're talking about creating is going to
Mhm.
be generational if our children are not taught the process
Mm,
and the vision is not shared with them. So even if they might not get the vision early in their life, but at least that seed is planted, right? We keep watering it.
yeah,
So if I die in the next 10 years, my sons,
yeah.
my children would know at least, with podcasts like these, live interview like these,
Mhm.
they can go back and watch these evergreen content, and they'll be like, okay, this is what dad wanted to do. How can I
Yeah,
improve that? You know what I mean?
sure.
So if I can keep planting the seed, keep watering it, and then the Hutchinson bloodline can continue to improve, and
Mm.
they understand that they can get to make an impact as well, man, it would be amazing. Get to live
Excellent.
forever.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. No, definitely,
Y-
definitely.
Yes, sir.
Hutch, tell us about what in 2015 you went through a tough time, and then the book that kind of changed your life. I think Vinny would be interested. Vinny's a big book guy. You had said something on the last interview. Well, was it Seven Habits of Highly Effective People?
Oh,
Is that the book?
yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing book, brother.
Stephen
That is amazing.
Covey. Stephen
Oh,
Covey's
Stephen.
book, brother.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If
Oh,
I
yeah.
could recommend one book to anyone, you don't have to be in a low. And actually, I encourage you not to
Yeah.
wait until you get to a low state in your life to try to
Mm-hmm.
get up. And I believe, unfortunately, that's what most people do. They wait
Mm-hmm.
until they're at the lowest point, more depression, like, okay, things has to get better. But you don't have to do that. I believe that they say the mind will not, the ears will not hear, and the eye will not see what the mind is not looking for. So if you consciously and purposefully choose to create the future that you believe you deserve in your future, man, life becomes beautiful. And Stephen
Mm-hmm.
Covey book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I believe is a catalyst
Mm-hmm.
because it's principle centered, right? And for me, right in 2015, I was given everything that I possibly could to my
Mm-hmm.
profession, right, as a Marine. And then some sequence of events happened, and I was moved from from a position that I felt passionate about and I was successful. I did not like the circumstances in which I was moved, right, because I was freaking killing it. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
needless to say, I was disgruntled.
Gotcha.
I felt less than
Yes.
appreciated, and then I finally realized that the situation was out of my control, and the only
Yeah.
thing that was in my control was me and how
Yes.
I not react, but how I respond to the
Mm-hmm.
situation that I was going through. And I didn't know what I didn't know, and I decided to seek out some literature that can put me in the right thinking. And Stephen Covey, first, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is the book that really did it for me. And what he did also, kudos to Stephen Covey, is that it gives you a whole bunch of different references that
Mm-hmm.
support an idea that you can go on this journey and create such a beautiful spiritual being of yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm forever indebted to that man for creating that book. Yeah, it's been
Awesome.
amazing for me.
Awesome, awesome. I know it affected my life in big ways. I mean, that book. And then he also came out with Eighth Habit. That was another book just by itself. Eighth Habit, I remember, because I was going through some time of calendar and True North, all that stuff. And that Eighth Habit, I remember reading that book also. No, thank you so much for sharing some great nuggets. I know we tried to do it about half an hour show, about real estate, about loans, about syndication, about commercial business. Bo, any other questions, brother? Yeah.
No, just everybody. I think it's pick up a book or use Audible, and every
Hmm.
week or two you should have a new book, and really, just don't read it or listen. Take notes. I think that's what I've started to do more. It's like there's a lot of people with wisdom. You got to really kind of listen, and I find myself writing stuff down now, where before it would kind of go in
Hmm.
one ear out the other. It's like really start thinking about the applications of like these wise people that write these books, right? Like, because
Hmm.
everybody says, I mean, like, how many people you hear go, oh, what's changed why'd you get in real estate? Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And that book wasn't
Hmm.
even really real estate specific per se. It was really about mindset on like thinking like an employee, thinking like a business, thinking like a self-employed person, or thinking like a business owner, right? So how do we
Hmm.
how do we adapt our brains to start thinking differently? Like when I had Derek on my podcast earlier, he
Hmm.
made a conscious shift in his mind that he wasn't going to be a W-2 employee anymore. And now he
Hmm.
spent the last year and a half traveling the world, growing his business substantially.
Yeah.
When he met
Yes.
you, I don't think he owned any multifamily. He has like 400 units now, the guy I interviewed earlier. So it's amazing
Yeah.
to hear these stories about just like people shifting their mindset and what
Hmm.
that can do. And I think that's what I love hearing. I love hearing these stories because it's really the people that can really get into their mind that make the biggest impact.
Yeah. So
Sure.
what is unfortunate, gentlemen, is that you will talk to some adults sometimes, and you will you venture to get them more interested in reading, right? And they will tell you, "Ah, I don't like to read," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they tell you a whole bunch of different weird excuses. But there is something about reading the literature that somebody
Mm.
took the past 10, 20 years to put together. Take, for example, one of the most famous book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon
Oh,
Hill,
yes.
is a freaking
Yes.
masterpiece, right? And he
Yeah.
took 20 years to do this interview of some of the greatest mind that ever existed in America, to our
Hmm.
knowledge, right? And then he put that in a doggone book and he give it
Yeah.
to you. See, we do not have enough life experience to
Hmm.
live, right? To we don't have enough time in our life, in one lifetime, to experience all the things that we need to have to grow to. We need to grow to our full potential. Somebody spent
So
20 years and they put into a book that we can read in 3 hours. So
in,
go out,
in,
read.
yeah, oh, I'm so
Yeah.
glad you're saying that, Hutch. I wanted to also tell all the audience I started a new show with Walter, Beau, on Thursday morning. It's the Abundance Mindset with Vinney Chopra. So it's like 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific. While I walk, we do some really good, question answering and things like that. And it becomes a podcast also. So Vinney and Beau show today, which is thank you so much for joining and watching. And again, we come live to you 9:30 Pacific every Friday, and then 8 o'clock a.m. actually Pacific is the Abundance Show. Hutch, thank you, brother. How can people reach you? Yeah, you're in Japan. They can't reach you, but like on the internet. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. I'm very prominent on LinkedIn as
Hmm.
Hutch the Marine Investor, right? But
Hmm.
we're working on a project right now, and we in capital raising mode. I think a lot of us are, So if you
Excellent.
want more information, just text DML to 42828, and we'll send you all the information.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, thank you so much, Hutch, for joining us
Appreciate it.
today. It's been such a pleasure, and you have a wonderful day, brother. We'll talk to you again, huh?
All right,
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
appreciate the
Thanks.
opportunity.
Thank
Thank you
you.
All right.
so much. Morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. This is Vinney and Beau show. Some of you might know me, Vinney Chopra, and my partner, Beau Eckstein. And we come to you live at 9:30 Pacific, which is 12:30 Eastern, every Friday. Thanks for joining.
And I think, Vinny, honestly, we at some point we're going to start a affordable housing multifamily division underneath Monale Investments. I'll run the division.
Wow.
We'll have a nonprofit component, and we'll help.
Wow.
We could probably help this in a big way, really.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week. I hope it's been for you also. Beau, you have some questions, but
Oh yeah, I got a lot of questions.
How are you, brother?
Good to see you, Vinny. Good to see you, Beau.
Oh, thank you. We are so privileged to have you.
Hey, Vinny, real quick.
Yeah, bud.
All right, I'll bet you sushi that you don't know that. What does SAS stand for?
Hi there, everybody joining us, watching us. We are live in 7 channels actually today in the YouTube, in LinkedIn, in Facebook groups and Facebook. Thanks again for liking the show. Please give comments, share, and we are here for a very big show today.